you know, thanks to my dear friend from Oklahoma who gave me this because she knew I love DC superheroes. I'm gonna cherish this one because I think it's the coolest action figure I ever had besides Star-Lord. But somehow somebody gave me this one. I hate him. That's right, I hate you because you're an arrogant, cocky, self-centered dumbass. Your fault for what you did to the Avengers. Really, Civil War over Bucky Barnes? Some stupid... Take that! Anyway. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Multi-Voice Review. Welcome to the Multi-Voice Entertainment. I am the Multi-Voice Reviewer. I have many voices, but one opinion. And, despite my whole deal here, you know, recently I heard that there was a science fiction series called Rebel Moon. And a lot of people kept telling me that Rebel Moon is like the Magnificent Seven in space. Well, one thing I do know, I am familiar with the Magnificent Seven. Now, I haven't seen the remake of the Magnificent Seven, but I have seen the classic Magnificent Seven with Steve McQueen, Yul Brynner, and so forth. And I only saw one episode of the TV series, The Magnificent Seven. And not many people know that The Magnificent Seven was based from a Japanese movie called The Seven Samurais. And, you know, I discovered that there already a science fiction version of the Magnificent Seven. And of course it's not called Rebel Moon. This one was created... I mean, since this is going to be something I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to review to you Battle Beyond the Stars. Now, Battle Beyond the Stars is like Magnificent Seven in space. And I gotta tell you, it's a really good movie. It's created by one of the legendary B-movie producers, director, Roger Corman. Now, even though most of his movies are B-rated, one thing you had to admire about him, he makes really damn good movies by how much money he has in his pockets, because he's smart enough not to go over budget in most movies he makes. And if I was a movie director, I would have been more like him. Make whatever movie by how much I have in my pocket. Now, how the story goes, it all started with this bad guy who goes by the name of Sabor, played by John Saxon. Now, he's playing a space pirate who is creating problems on an innocent planet full of innocent people. And he kept attacking these people, and they wanted help from the other side. They needed like a group of mercenaries. So, one youngster named Shad, played by Richard Thomas. Yep, that's right. The same Richard Thomas who is in Stephen King's It, the one with Tim Curry, not the new one. Now, I've seen him in a lot of movies. Of course, one thing that always kind of distracting to me about him is that mole of his, but he's an actor, so stays. And one thing I noticed, that he decided to go up into space and find some mercenaries who is willing to help him save his people against that evil space pirate. So he gets on this ship called Nell, voiced by Ian Cullen. And one thing I gotta say about that ship, Nell, I mean, I can tell by the look of that ship it's a female because you see the breasts on her. But it's not often that you see a ship that you can definitely tell as a female. And it's voiced by a woman, so... You know, that kind of makes me wonder, is the Starship Enterprise a woman? After all, its computer sounds like a woman. But anyway, the first planet that he goes to this one planet that is overrun by human machines. And he sees, now bear in mind, I cannot pronounce his name, Dr. Hephaestus, played by Sam Jaff. And it turns out that he's stuck on that planet full of robots, and he's turning himself into a human machine. And he wanted him to stay in his planet because he's not the only person in the planet. He has a daughter named Natalie, played by Darnell Flegel, who is a human and never met a human person before until he met Shad. And Shad, doing his old-fashioned boyish charm, he starts telling Natalie that she needs to go out and not stay in this planet with her dad because his dad's a little... I mean, he wanted him to stay to be with his daughter, trying to play a little matchmaker there, but let him stay there forever and forget about his home planet? He can't have none of that. So he asked Natalie to come with him. So she decided to go with him. So now he has one of the mercenaries by his side, Natalie, who's good with robotics and machines. And then out comes the Space Cowboy, played by George Pepperid. Yeah, the same George who played Hannibal in the A-Team. And you know, every time when I see him as a Space Cowboy, I just think about this song here by NSYNC. If you wanna fly high, come and take a ride. Take a space ride with the cowboys, baby. Why-ya-ya, yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yi-yay. Why-ya-ya, yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yi-yo. But anyway, Shad asked a Space Cowboy would he like to join, and he was like, yeah, sure, partner. And he's supposed to be from Earth, so he's like the only Earth character in this movie. And of course, some people would describe him as racist because he has a Confederate flag outside of his ship. And then all of a sudden, Natalie gets kidnapped by another ship. It turns out there was a lizard man who goes by the name of K-Man, played by Morgan Woodward. And of course, he was about ready to kidnap her for ransom, but she said that they want his help. But he was like, nah, not interested. But she told him, you know better than Sabor. And Clayman was like, Sabor? You're dealing with him, huh? Alright, I'm in. Because I hate that guy. So they have Claybor in their team. And then all of a sudden, Shad gets abducted by a white glowing ship that is controlled by a group of these white, paled alien species that has 3 eyes, and they call themselves the Nestors, and the Nestor is played by Earl Byron. Yeah, the same guy who played Dr. Silverman in the Terminator movies. Except this time he plays a good guy and doesn't play like a jackass. Anyway, Shad asked the Nestor that would they like to join with him, and he noticed that there's 5 of them, and he's like, we are as one. Our Nestor. We are all linked together. And then he went to another person to find, and he went to an abandoned casino on another planet, and it's owned by Gelt, played by Robert Vaughn. Which that's pretty surprising to me. I mean, since this movie is based from the Magnificent Seven, at least they have one of the actors from Magnificent Seven in it, Robert Vaughn. And you know, that's one thing I've been noticing lately. In every single movie, I always see the late, great Robert Vaughn always plays the bad guy. And never in my entire life I ever saw him play a good guy. Because most of the movies I've seen him in, he always plays the bad guy. Except Magnificent Seven, because he was kind of an anti-hero. I mean, he always looks like he's kind of sneaky and like he's planning to do something treacherous, but at the end he does something good. And then there is another person who wants to join them, but Shad doesn't want her to join, but she insisted, and she goes by the name of Saint X-Men, played by Sybil Danning. Yeah, and everybody remembers Sybil Danning from all the B-rated movies from the 70s and 80s. I mean, every guy, always loves Sybil Danning. I mean, they even love her character, Saint X-Men, so much that they made a doll of her all of a sudden. Who'd have thunk it? But, anyway, she insisted to join with them, so he was like, alright. And, of course, the way Saint X-Men is playing, she's supposed to be playing like some kind of a alien Wonder Woman type. Like, she wants to go into battle, no matter what, fighting for a good cause. So, they welcome them all together. So, there you have the Space Magnificent Seven. All together. And, of course, they start chatting with each other, and also, Space Cowboy, he carries a liquor machine around his belt where it shoots scotch and soda. So he always has himself a glass of scotch and soda everywhere he goes. And, of course, he was frying some hot dogs, and he give one of the Nestors a hot dog. He took a bite, and it says, interesting. Doesn't taste like dog. And then all of a sudden, Sabor starts attacking some of the innocent people on the planet. So some of the members started firing their lasers and start shooting and battling against one another. Until one of the minion kidnap one of the Nestors. And Sabor, turns out he lost one of his arm during battle, so he decided to kill the Nestor and take out one of his arms so he can have it as a new replacement for himself. And the Nestor can feel the pain of one of the Nestors getting killed and cutting off his arm, feel the pain when they're cutting off his arm. But one thing about the Nestor, they can control that arm that Sabor had attached to his arm, and all of a sudden that Nabor arm grabbed a knife and was about ready to cut his throat by the command of the other Nestor, but he demanded his army, his men, his loyal men, to cut off that arm quickly. So they did. Didn't succeed. Now, of course, Kamen, two of his twins, the twins that he's with, they start doing like a Care Bear stare, like they're glowing radiation that pretty much vaporized some of the bad guys that tried to attack them. And then during the battle, all of a sudden, Gelt, Robert Vaughn, gets hit, and he crash lands to the planet, and now he is badly burnt, and he became the first one to die. Yeah, that's one thing I think you guys should know. On Magnificent Seven, most of the heroes died during battle. And only like one or two survived. So, Robert Vaughn's character, Gelt, died first. And then the ship full of Nestors showed up, and they were firing their lasers at some of the bad guys. And the only way that they're about ready to, the only way that they help Sabor's ship by destroying its deadly laser that it would neutralize the entire planet, they crash land their ship right into his death ray, so now it's no longer working. So now the Nestors are gone. And then Saint X-Men, Sybil Danning, she starts doing her battle cry by doing her high-pitched squeal, her scream, which is pretty obvious. I mean, after all, Sybil Danning is a scream queen, too. I mean, she appeared in a couple of movies. Horror movies. So, she did her battle cry of screaming, and then she said that it was a glory to battle and die with honor, and then she crashes her ship onto the bad guy's spaceship. So she's gone. And Space Cowboy, he starts firing his lasers until his ship gets hit. So now he sits back and relaxed, ready to crash land into the bad guy's ship. And he just sits there playing with his harmonica, going all... And boom, there goes Space Cowboy. And Kamen, he decided to strike a final blow in order to stop Sabor. So he made his battle cry going like, Lakari! Lakari! And then he dies. And it's creating an amount of damage on the on Sabor's ship. So one last explosion would pretty much put a damper on his ship. And all of a sudden, Sabor's lasers hit Shad's ship, Nell, who all of a sudden now has amnesia, don't even remember who's flying her. But one thing that he asked Nell to do is do a countdown while Shad and Natalie make their escape. So Nell puts herself next to Sabor's ship while Shad and Natalie made their escape. And as Nell made her countdown, and it hit Sabor's ship so bad, his last words was, "I want to be immortal!" And then, boom. That was it. So now, Shad and Natalie live happily ever after in his planet and his people. And that was the end of Battle Beyond the Stars. Now, I don't know about you, but I think Battle Beyond the Stars is one of Roger Corman's best sci-fi B-movies that he made. Besides Star Crash, which that was made from Italian, but Roger Corman distributed it. But Battle Beyond the Stars was a pretty damn good sci-fi B-rated movie that Roger Corman had made, and he used some of the clips for other sci-fi movies he made in order to save some money. So if any of you want to see a sci-fi movie that is more based to the Magnificent Seven, check out Battle Beyond the Stars, because it is a really damn good movie, and it's pretty awesome. Anyway, this is my review for the day, ladies and gentlemen. So if any of you enjoyed my review of Battle Beyond the Stars, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe for more. So, I'm the multi-voice reviewer. I remember so I can jog your memory. Am I supposed to beam up here? I mean, come on, man, beam me up! Why can somebody tell me my ass is so big?